One of the biggest things I've identified in the current process that we have, where we have designers, builders, and procurement all under one roof, is the speed at which we're able to do things. In today's market, there's just a need for the ability to get things done quicker. I mean, everyone's looking at how they can cut costs, cut schedule, and the way that we approach projects aligns perfectly with that.
My background is in interior architecture. I worked for several different firms that specialized in retail design. So it's like highly creative, really conceptual. But one of the things that I definitely experienced myself was frustration around designing content that then wasn't able to be built because it never matched a client's budget. So one of the things I love about our methodology is we really act as almost like a client rep, because we're taking all of their parameters in mind and collaborating with our teams internally to be able to execute on that, both from like a budget perspective as well as a schedule perspective. And we're really kind of informing our design at every step along the way to make sure that we are continuing to align with those expectations. So I feel like it's a huge benefit to our clients because we're never selling something that they can't afford. And we're constantly weighing those design decisions against their drivers, as well as, again, like I mentioned, schedule and budget.
When we can bring a team to the table and say, instead of hiring 3 firms for this project, we can have a discussion like this and guarantee budget, schedule, and reduce the risk throughout this process. And they get those aha moments. Like we've all seen it with a client. Do you remember this challenge? Well, that's gone because this is all our risk. Like we're going to own this. So, I mean, from an account perspective, from going out there and getting new clients, I 100% believe in this methodology.
When we moved into the design build world, it was just so simple to sit down with a set of drawings at a table, bring the designer over, bring the project manager over, and lay it out, real quickly within hours, and have something buildable on site without all going back and forth between the different parties involved.
And one example of that is a client came to us the other day. Budget was obviously important. They were buying this hotel, and it was just as important to know what the cost of the renovation was as how long this project was going to take. There was a very significant date that they had to meet with an upcoming event in that city. And so if they literally were looking at just a standalone design firm to go, that they had used in the past. So we said, okay, well, if you go through that process, how do you actually know you're going to be done by June next year? Whereas right here around the table, we have a very detailed timeline that both of us internally and externally have agreed to, and including the management at the hotel. So we knew how many rooms we were going to take down. We knew which rooms at which times, whether there was like Christmas events or other events around, that we had to work around. So that, again, kind of paints that you can't just think about one piece of this. Obviously, budget was very important, and they wanted to know how the logistics were going to work. Are we going to have storage on site or off site and all of that? But June 1st, that thing had to be done for $35,000 per key, and that was more important to them than just the dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that from a risk standpoint, it is super important where a client is saying to us, these are the things that are important to me. And when you have separate entities delivering on that message can get diluted or even lost. Whereas like if we're all at the table and we're all hearing it together, we're all thinking about our own angle to execute on that thing. And it really elevates the end product for that client. And I think it just holds everything that much more true to what they're actually looking for.
I think it's important to note that it is possible, and very often the case, where there is no fault by the designer, the architect, the general contractor, or the owner, and things still aren't right. We know what it looks like, and we can help them walk through that and say, these are the points. You're going to have to make decisions quick here, here, and here. We're going to have to get the brand on side for this process, this process, this process. Our design team is going to have to jump in and do this here quickly, and our procurement team is going to have to make sure everything that we're getting is within 14 weeks. And so we know it's prescribed. It's not that we somehow magically are able to do these projects quicker because we're a great team, which we are. It's because we know we can map it out and see what the risks are and mitigate those risks and say, we're able to navigate these and diminish them and have full visibility onto them so that we're able to walk with the client down that path.